Okay, we're here in the Coatroom with Dr. Dan. And Dr. Dan, I only have one question for you right now, and I really want to know what Democrats can do in Kentucky to connect with voters this November to get Bruce Lunsford and some other House of Representatives candidates and local candidates elected.
Well, Ben, first of all, let me congratulate you on your offices here at the Convention
Oh,
Center.
thanks. I scored primo
Yeah,
spots.
yes, you have, and of course, I don't think anyone else has an office like this. But I think it's critically important that Democrats speak to the problems that everybody understands we're having right now. Congress has a 14% approval rating for one reason, one major reason. That's because of the great divide between our parties. We have to become statesmen again. We need to have leaders that will bring both sides to the table to attack our complex and serious problems. We're not going to fix health care by just Democrats working and Republicans fighting, or vice versa. We need leaders that will bring a new type of leadership. It's obvious that the Republican Party is not the party to do that. They have brought us the type of old-style politics that we have today, and that's fight, 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 and the politics of personal destruction, which leads to further division between the parties. So I think that's the most important thing, because all the other issues, if we're working together on, we can solve as Americans.
It just seems, though, that with gerrymandering of congressional districts, we have the most right-wing and the most liberal of representatives. And so I don't understand how we bridge the divide between those two. I mean, it's in these congressmen's best interest to serve their district. And it just seems like the structural problems are too great.
I think it's unfortunate that because of that, and because at election time we use the fringe issues to get elected or to move voters, that it doesn't allow us to focus on what we have in common. We have a lot more in common than we have in differences. And the differences that we face are very difficult and challenging, but we can't allow those differences to stop what we can do in most of the areas. Healthcare is not something that we should argue about. We all agree that healthcare is something that needs to be fixed and repaired. Let's sit at the table and figure out where the compromise that we can solve this problem. Energy is another area. We need to move from last generation energy source, which is foreign oil, to a new generation, meaning everything we can figure out to use that's ours, that's Americans. Whether it's coal, new coal, which with clean coal technology, coal to liquids, which is cleaner burning than petroleum. We need to repair our educational system. These are areas that we have an agreement, that we have in common, that we can work on. And well, we'll continue to discuss the other issues, but let's put aside those and work on the real substantive issues.
Will you talk briefly about clean coal and the technologies and what needs to be done to implement these technologies?
The University of Kentucky has a research center that's working on clean coal technologies, and they tell me within 15 years we will have zero emission coal, which means there'll be nothing expressed, either greenhouse gases or nitrogen or sulfur, within a few years with new technologies.
Is that carbon sequestration, or what? Do you know the specifics of those technologies?
I don't know the specifics of those technologies, but obviously there are a couple of things. When you burn coal, you have carbon released, and you also have sulfur and nitrogen,
Sure.
which brings me to a point of clean coal, or coal to liquids. When you transfer coal to liquid, in that process you can take out all the impurities like sulfur and nitrogen. So we do have only one thing to worry about, and that's the carbon dioxide, which we're working on new technologies to either capture that or heat the coal in such a way that there is zero CO2 production in the process, which is something that's, there's a prototype being built in South Africa today. Liquid coal is actually 40% cleaner burning than petroleum. Liquid coal is ours, so we don't have to send millions and billions of dollars to protect a source of energy, and $700 billion a year, which is the largest transference of wealth this world has ever seen.
Yeah.
So it solves a lot of problems. It's not perfect, but it is a bridge to getting to the next generation
Sure.
of energy.
Personally, I would like to also hear more about Kentucky's role in renewable resources. I mean, we have distributed photovoltaic potential, wind energy in eastern Kentucky, and I know biomass is also a possibility. And I think that could be an issue that could really show the Kentucky population, how we differ from people like Mitch McConnell, because he's currently filibustering a bill that would promote solar energy.
We need all sources. We need to see exactly what we can do in Kentucky, and we're doing that research right now. We're putting out an energy plan which will be very comprehensive. It's not just going to be coal, because we're a coal state, but it's going to be wind, it's going to be solar. We need to produce electricity in every way possible, and that includes we need to look at nuclear as well, because nuclear needs to be part of the discussion at least, and if it is viable here in Kentucky, then we need to look at that as we are looking for new markets and new sources for our coal markets.
Now, is this the Beshear administration is going to be putting together an energy plan?
Yes, we're working on that right now. We have developed an energy cabinet. Lynn Peters is the secretary of the energy cabinet. He has a wealth of experience and knowledge in this area, and he's putting together a comprehensive energy plan, something that our country desperately needs that we don't have right now.
Sure, maybe it could serve as a model for other states.
We're hoping that it will serve as a model, and we're going to look at all sources: wind, solar, emerging technologies, biomass, biofuels, plasma, coal, liquid coal, everything that you can imagine we need to be looking at, including shale oil.
Great. Now, one last question, Dr. Dan. Do you have a highlight of the convention so far?
I think last night, two things about the last night's speeches. One, Hillary Clinton really was electrifying, and if there was
I used that word on the blog today, in fact.
If there was any discussion at all about not having unity in our party, that was put to bed last night. And the other was the Montana governor, Schweitzer, talking about energy and bringing us into the 21st century in energy and using all approaches to energy. I think he really understands that we need to set the old concepts of where we're at in a fossil fuel world aside. We are still going to burn fossil fuels. We need to learn how to do so more cleanly, but we also need to put some focus on alternative energies as well.
There's a great profile of Brian Schweitzer in a book called The Uprising, where David Sirota talks about how the governor has used energy issues to really parlay it into political capital that they've cashed in Montana. I think we could do the same in Kentucky.
I think Governor Schweitzer is he's very plain-spoken. He talks on a level that people can understand. But more importantly, he's bringing to the table a discussion on energy that everybody wants to talk about. We ought not put anything off the table. We need everything on the table, and we need to bring our energy into the 21st century. And that means let's look at everything.
Well, Dr. Dan, thanks very much for taking time out of your day. I know we interrupted your breakfast, and we'll let you get back to that right now.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for allowing me to do this.
All right.